Many women over 50 apply castor oil every night, hoping their wrinkles will soften and their skin will slowly regain firmness, yet after weeks of effort, nothing truly changes beyond surface softness. If this feels familiar, it doesn't mean castor oil failed you, and it certainly doesn't mean your skin is beyond repair. It means something essential is missing, not another skincare product, but a second oil that sends the biological signal your skin needs before collagen repair can even begin. My name is Dr. Eliza Hart, a board-certified obstetrician and gynecologist with over 15 years of experience supporting women through the hormonal shifts that occur after 50, and one of the most common frustrations I hear is this: women are doing the right things, yet their skin no longer responds. After menopause, the skin does not simply need nourishment, it needs coordination. Castor oil plays an important role by preparing the skin, softening the surface, and improving absorption. But on its own, it cannot deliver the biological message that tells collagen to rebuild. That message only appears when castor oil is paired with a second oil that activates the repair environment beneath the skin, allowing circulation hormones and fibroblast cells to work together again. Before we continue, please subscribe if you value science-based guidance for women over 50, and comment the country you're watching from so I can see how this message is spreading around the world. Be sure to watch until the end because I have a small but important surprise related to this combination that many women overlook. Now let's begin by understanding why castor oil alone is no longer enough after 50. 1. Why castor oil alone doesn't rebuild collagen after 50. If you've been applying castor oil consistently and wondering why your skin feels softer but never truly firmer, this moment of confusion is not imagined, and it is not a personal failure. In my clinical experience, this is one of the most common turning points for women after 50, when familiar remedies begin to deliver comfort without transformation. Castor oil is often praised because it does exactly what it is designed to do. It seals moisture, reduces surface dryness, and creates a feeling of suppleness that mature skin desperately needs. Yet collagen repair does not begin at the surface, and softness alone is never the signal that tells skin to rebuild its structure. After menopause, the biological environment of the skin changes in subtle but powerful ways. Estrogen decline alters lipid composition, slows cellular turnover, and reduces the responsiveness of fibroblast cells, which are responsible for producing collagen and elastin. Castor oil, while deeply nourishing, works primarily as a carrier and protective layer. It does not stimulate circulation, and it does not communicate with the nervous or hormonal systems that control repair. This is why many women describe a frustrating pattern. Their skin looks calm and hydrated at night, yet by morning, wrinkles appear unchanged and firmness never returns. The oil has done its job, but the deeper repair process never received the message to begin. Collagen repair requires more than hydration. It requires a coordinated signal that the body is safe, supported, and ready to shift from protection into restoration. Without that signal, fibroblasts remain quiet, collagen fibers stay disorganized, and wrinkles gradually settle into place. This is not because the skin is incapable, but because it is cautious. Mature skin does not respond to force or excess. It responds to clarity. When castor oil is used alone, it creates preparation without direction, comfort without instruction, and nourishment without activation. Understanding this distinction changes everything. Once women realize that castor oil is not meant to work independently, frustration gives way to strategy. The goal is no longer to add stronger products or apply more oil, but to complete the biological conversation the skin is waiting for. Castor oil prepares the environment, but it must be paired with a complementary signal that tells the skin when and how to repair. And that realization leads us to the deeper reason collagen decline accelerates after 50, which has far less to do with age than most women have been led to believe. 2. The real reason collagen declines, not aging, but nighttime repair failure. Here is a truth that often unsettles women when they first hear it. Collagen does not disappear simply because you are older. It becomes quiet because the body no longer enters a full repair state at night. This distinction matters more than most skincare advice ever explains, because collagen is not rebuilt during the day when the skin is defending itself, but during sleep, when the body decides whether repair is safe to allow. After 50, that decision changes. As estrogen declines, the nervous system becomes more reactive, and nighttime cortisol levels often remain elevated even when a woman feels tired. This creates a biological contradiction. The body is exhausted, yet it stays alert. When this happens, melatonin secretion weakens growth, hormone pulses become shallow, and the skin never fully shifts into restoration mode. Fibroblast cells, which rely on these nighttime signals to reorganize collagen fibers, simply wait. They are not damaged, and they are not gone, but they are no longer invited to work. This is why many women notice that their wrinkles seem deeper in the morning than they did years ago, even when their skin feels well moisturized the night before. The issue is not dryness, it is incomplete repair. Without sufficient nighttime signaling, collagen fibers lose their tight structure, elasticity declines, and the skin gradually adopts a flatter, more fragile appearance. No amount of surface care can override this process because the skin is responding to internal instructions, not topical intention. In clinical practice, I often see women who are meticulous with their skincare, yet struggle with restless sleep, light waking, or a constant sense of tension in the body. These patterns are not separate from skin aging, they are directly connected. When the nervous system remains active at night, the skin stays in defense mode, prioritizing protection over regeneration. Collagen cannot rebuild in an environment that feels unsafe, no matter how nourishing the products may be. This understanding reframes everything. Collagen decline after 50 is not a cosmetic failure, and it is not an inevitable consequence of time. It is the result of a disrupted repair rhythm where the skin never receives a clear signal to restore itself. Once that rhythm is supported again, fibroblasts can resume their role, and collagen can begin reorganizing naturally. The question then becomes not how to push the skin harder, but how to gently guide it back into repair, which brings us to the specific signal that castor oil alone cannot provide. 3. Lavender oil, the nervous system. Signal castor oil needs to activate collagen. What most women never realize is that collagen does not respond first to products, but to permission. Before fibroblast cells can begin repairing and reorganizing collagen fibers, the nervous system must signal that the body is safe enough to shift from vigilance into restoration, especially during the delicate hormonal phase after menopause. This is where lavender oil plays a role that castor oil alone simply cannot fulfill. Lavender is not a cosmetic oil, and it is not a shortcut to instant results. It is a biological communicator that works through the nervous system rather than forcing change at the surface. Lavender oil contains compounds such as linalool and linaloyl acetate that interact directly with the parasympathetic nervous system, the branch responsible for rest repair and recovery at a cellular level. After 50, many women live in a subtle state of chronic alertness, where stress hormones remain elevated even at night, quietly interfering with regeneration. In this state, the skin may accept moisture, but it resists rebuilding structure and elasticity. Lavender helps quiet this background tension, lowering cortisol signaling and supporting the hormonal cascade that allows melatonin and growth hormone to do their work more effectively. When these signals align, fibroblast cells finally receive the message that collagen repair is allowed to begin. This is why lavender does not create a dramatic sensation on the skin. There is no heat, no tingling, no feeling of stimulation. Instead, women often describe a gradual sense of ease, followed by deeper sleep and skin that feels less rigid, more responsive, and subtly fuller by morning. These are not secondary benefits. They are the foundation of repair. Collagen fibers reorganize only when the internal environment supports stability, and lavender helps restore that stability in a way mature skin understands and trusts. Castor oil becomes essential in this process because it prepares the terrain. It softens the surface, improves absorption, and creates a lipid environment that allows lavender's signal to reach deeper layers without irritation or overload. Together, they form a partnership. One oil prepares, the other permits. Without lavender, castor oil comforts but cannot complete the conversation. With lavender, the skin finally receives clarity instead of confusion. If this explanation resonates and you recognize the pattern of soft skin without firmness, comment 1 below. If this perspective feels new and makes you rethink why collagen repair may have stalled, comment 0. Your response helps me understand how many women are quietly experiencing this shift. And now that we understand the signal, the next step is seeing what happens when preparation and permission come together in the skin. 4. When castor oil meets lavender, the biological transformation. The real shift begins at the moment these two oils are no longer used as separate remedies, but as a coordinated system that speaks the skin's own biological language. On their own, castor oil and lavender oil serve very different purposes, yet when combined correctly, they create an environment where collagen repair is no longer resisted, delayed, or interrupted. It is a physiological transition that unfolds quietly beneath the skin. Castor oil establishes the physical foundation first. Its dense lipid structure reinforces the skin barrier, reduces transepidermal water loss, and softens the outer layers that often become rigid after menopause. This softness is not cosmetic. It increases permeability, allowing signals to travel more efficiently through the skin layers. At the same time, castor oil slows evaporation, keeping the skin in a stable, hydrated state that is necessary for cellular communication. Without this preparation, even the most effective signaling oil would struggle to reach its intended target. Lavender oil enters at a deeper level. Rather than stimulating blood flow or creating warmth, it alters the internal tone of the skin by influencing the nervous system. As cortisol signaling diminishes and parasympathetic activity rises, the skin gradually exits defense mode. This shift is critical. Fibroblast cells will not reorganize collagen fibers while the body remains in a state of vigilance. Lavender's role is to signal safety, consistency, and rhythm, allowing repair pathways to reopen without forcing them. When these effects overlap, a biological alignment occurs. Hydration stabilizes the tissue nervous system, signals quiet the background stress response, and fibroblasts regain the capacity to reorganize collagen fibers into tighter, more functional structures. Many women describe this phase as a subtle return of responsiveness. The skin feels less resistant to touch, less tense around expression lines, and more capable of holding shape. This transformation is often first noticed through sensation rather than appearance. The skin may feel gently warm without irritation, flexible without looseness, and calm without heaviness. These sensations indicate that circulation, hydration, and neural signaling are working together rather than competing. Collagen repair does not announce itself loudly, it begins as cooperation. What matters most is that this process respects mature skin. There is no stimulation spike, no aggressive turnover, and no artificial plumping. Instead, the skin is guided back into a state where rebuilding feels natural again. Once this alignment is established, timing becomes the decisive factor, because even the most supportive environment cannot repair collagen unless it coincides with the body's natural repair window. 5. The golden timing window. When lavender actually activates collagen repair. There is a reason many women feel they are doing everything right, yet still wake up to skin that looks unchanged. And that reason has very little to do with what they apply, and almost everything to do with when repair is biologically allowed to happen. Collagen does not rebuild continuously throughout the day, nor does it respond equally at all hours. It follows a rhythm, and after 50, that rhythm becomes far more selective. The skin enters its true repair phase only when the body shifts fully out of daytime defense and into nighttime restoration. This transition typically occurs between late evening and the early hours of sleep, when melatonin rises and growth hormone is released in small but critical pulses. These hormonal signals tell fibroblast cells that it is safe to reorganize collagen fibers, strengthen structure, and restore elasticity. Outside of this window, the skin prioritizes protection, not rebuilding, no matter how nourishing the products may be. This is where lavender's role becomes uniquely important. Lavender does not force collagen activity. Instead, it supports the body's ability to enter this repair state by calming the nervous system and reducing residual stress, signaling that often lingers after menopause. When cortisol remains elevated at night, even subtly, the body hesitates to commit to repair. Lavender helps soften this hesitation, allowing the natural repair clock to resume its function. Applying the castor oil and lavender blend approximately 45 to 60 minutes before sleep allows this alignment to occur gradually. The skin absorbs the oils, hydration stabilizes the tissue, and the nervous system begins to downshift before the hormonal repair window opens. By the time melatonin and growth hormone peak fibroblast cells are prepared to respond, this timing is not cosmetic advice, it is endocrine coordination. When the blend is used too early in the evening, its signaling effect may fade before repair begins. When it is applied too late, the body may already be drifting into sleep without full absorption. Precision matters more after 50 because the margin for effective repair becomes narrower. Women who follow this timing often notice changes that feel subtle but meaningful. Sleep becomes deeper. The face feels less tight in the morning and expression lines appear less rigid over time. These changes are not instant, but they are reliable because they follow the body's natural schedule, rather than fighting against it. Once timing is respected, the final piece becomes clarity and restraint, because even the right signal, delivered at the right hour, can lose effectiveness if the formula itself is not used correctly. 6. The correct ratio formula and how to use it properly after 50. At this stage, many women assume that if two oils work well together, using more will somehow accelerate results, yet mature skin rarely responds positively to intensity. After 50, precision matters far more than quantity, because the skin's barrier, nervous system, and repair pathways are more sensitive to overload than they were in earlier decades. The effectiveness of this blend lies not in abundance, but in balance. The foundation of this formula is castor oil, used not as a treatment on its own, but as a stabilizing carrier. 1 teaspoon is sufficient to soften the skin, barrier, reduce moisture loss, and create a receptive environment without clogging or heaviness. Lavender oil is added not for fragrance, but for signaling, and this is where restraint becomes essential. 1 drop, and no more than 2, is enough to influence the nervous system and support nighttime repair. Beyond this amount, the signal can become noise, and the skin may respond with resistance rather than renewal. Before application, warming the blend gently between the palms is an often overlooked step that carries biological importance. This subtle warmth improves spreadability, enhances absorption, and prepares the skin for contact without triggering stimulation. The oil should then be pressed into the skin using slow, deliberate motions, focusing on areas where collagen decline is most noticeable, such as the cheeks, jawline, nasolabial folds, and neck. This is not a massage intended to lift or sculpt. It is a method of delivery that respects fragile tissue and avoids mechanical stress. Timing and frequency complete the formula. Applying the blend 3 to 4 nights per week allows the skin to respond without becoming dependent or oversaturated. Using it nightly may feel comforting at first, but over time it can dull responsiveness, especially in hormonally sensitive skin. Mature skin repairs best when given space between signals, allowing each repair cycle to complete before the next begins. Safety must always be considered, particularly after menopause. A patch test remains essential as hormonal shifts can alter skin reactivity unexpectedly. The blend should never be applied to inflamed or compromised skin, and women with known sensitivities or ongoing medical treatments should consult a healthcare professional before use. When followed correctly, this formula does not force results. Instead, it creates conditions that allow the skin to participate willingly in its own repair. Collagen responds not to pressure, but to clarity. And when the ratio, method, and rhythm are aligned, the skin often begins to show changes that feel steady rather than dramatic. With proper use established, the final question becomes what happens when this approach is maintained consistently over time. 7. The long-term benefits when used consistently. The true value of this approach does not reveal itself overnight, and that is precisely why it works so differently from many quick-fix solutions that promise visible change in days. Collagen repair after 50 is a gradual biological process, and when the skin is finally supported rather than pressured, its response tends to unfold in layers rather than sudden shifts. What women notice first is rarely what they expect. Within the first 2 to 3 weeks, the earliest changes often appear not in the mirror, but in how the skin feels and behaves. The face may feel less tight in the morning, less reactive to temperature changes, and less prone to that dry, fragile sensation that often settles in overnight. Many women also report deeper, more continuous sleep during this phase, which is not incidental. Improved sleep quality signals that the nervous system is settling into a rhythm that supports repair, and the skin is often the first tissue to reflect that internal change. By the 4th week, subtle structural differences begin to emerge. Fine lines do not disappear, but they soften, becoming less sharply defined and less resistant to movement. The skin holds hydration more evenly throughout the day, and areas that once appeared flat or dull begin to regain a quiet fullness. This is not surface plumping. It is the result of collagen fibers reorganizing into more stable patterns, supported by consistent nighttime repair cycles. Around 6 weeks, many women describe a shift that feels deeper than appearance alone. The skin looks calmer, more resilient, and more forgiving, particularly around expression lines that once seemed fixed. There is often a renewed sense that the skin can respond again, rather than merely endure. This is a critical distinction. When collagen repair is restored gradually, the results tend to last because they are built on biological cooperation, not stimulation. What makes these changes sustainable is their subtlety. There is no rebound dryness, no sudden loss of effect when the routine is paused, and no dependency on constant application. The skin adapts, learns, and begins to regulate itself more effectively. Consistency in this context does not mean doing more. It means allowing enough time for each repair cycle to complete before expecting visible change. Over time, this approach often reshapes how women relate to their skin. Instead of chasing correction, they begin to notice stability. Instead of focusing on flaws, they recognize resilience. And that shift, both biological and emotional, is often the most lasting benefit of all. As we've seen, meaningful collagen repair after 50 is not about adding stronger products or forcing visible change, but about restoring the biological conditions your skin needs to repair itself naturally. When castor oil is paired correctly, used at the right time, and supported by a signal that allows nighttime repair, wrinkles soften not because they are filled, but because structure is slowly rebuilt. My advice is simple: work with your skin, respect its rhythm, and give it consistency rather than intensity. Small, precise habits practiced patiently often create the most lasting results. If this guidance has helped you understand your skin more clearly and you'd like to support the growth of this channel, you're welcome to consider a small donation to help me continue creating science-based content for women over 50. And if you found value here, please like this video, share it with someone who may need it, and subscribe for future guidance. Thank you for spending this time with me and for trusting your skin's ability to heal.